I don't know how to start this without sounding insane, but maybe that doesn't matter anymore. If you're listening, just promise me one thing. Don't ever go looking for the man they call the Wizard. It began months ago, when I first heard the stories whispered in the old taverns of my town. They spoke of a figure who lived deep in the forest, a man who never aged, who had been seen in different centuries wearing the same black cloak and the same crooked hat. Some called him a fraud. Others swore he had made a deal with something far darker than any of us could imagine. I should have left it at that, just another piece of folklore. But curiosity is poison, and mine was already too deep in my veins. One night, I packed a lantern, a notebook, and more courage than I could ever justify, and I went into the woods. The air there didn't feel right. It was heavy, almost damp, and every step I took made the silence denser. Not even the owls dared to sing. The deeper I went, the stronger the smell became, sulfur mixed with damp earth, like something was rotting far below the surface. I wanted to turn back. I should have turned back, but then I saw it, a faint glow between the twisted trees like fireflies caught in a storm. When I reached the clearing, I froze. He was there, the Wizard. His silhouette was tall and impossibly thin, cloaked in shadows that seemed to bend around him. A wide hat hid most of his face, but when he raised his head, I saw his eyes, two burning white orbs that pierced straight through me. My chest tightened, and for a moment, I couldn't even breathe. He didn't speak at first. He just stared, his long, skeletal fingers tracing patterns in the dirt. It wasn't until I realized he was drawing a circle, no, a pentagram, that the weight of what I had stumbled into finally struck me. The air shifted. My lantern flickered violently, though there was no wind. I swear I heard whispers around me, voices without bodies, circling like vultures. Then he spoke, and his voice, it didn't belong to a man. It was layered, as if several mouths spoke at once, echoing inside my skull. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. My legs wanted to run, but I was rooted to the ground, paralyzed by a fear I had never known. He tilted his head, studying me like a specimen, and then slowly, deliberately, he smiled. It was then I noticed what was etched into the ground at his feet. Not just a pentagram, but symbols I had never seen before, carved so deep into the earth that they seemed to pulse with a faint, unnatural glow. I realized, with sickening clarity, that I hadn't just found him. I had interrupted him. And whatever ritual he was performing, it wasn't finished. I don't know why I didn't run. Maybe it was the way his eyes held me, or maybe some invisible force kept me frozen where I stood. All I know is that I felt my heart pounding against my ribs, each beat like a warning drum. The Wizard's hands hovered above the glowing pentagram, his long fingers twitching in slow, deliberate movements, like a puppeteer pulling strings. The whispers grew louder, no longer distant, but right at my ears, circling, overlapping, some of them laughing, slower, others crying. They weren't human voices, they were something else. He tilted his head and spoke again. "You came because you wanted something, didn't you?" His words weren't a question, they were a statement. I shook my head violently, but he only laughed, a sound so dry it scratched at the inside of my skull. "They all want something," he said. "Power, love, revenge. It doesn't matter. The devil always provides." The lantern in my hand went out. Total darkness swallowed me, except for the faint glow of the circle at his feet. And in that dim light, I began to see movement. At first, I thought it was shadows, but then I realized they weren't shaped like anything I recognized. Crawling figures, skeletal and twisted, slithered along the edges of the circle. They had no eyes, no mouths, but they pressed against the invisible barrier, desperate to escape. Every time they touched the boundary, the symbols glowed brighter, containing them. I couldn't breathe. My body screamed for me to run, but my legs remained useless, trembling as if nailed to the earth. The Wizard leaned closer, his face finally revealed. His skin was cracked and gray like dried leather, and his teeth jagged, blackened, as though burned from within. His eyes never blinked. "You interrupted," he said softly, "but perhaps that was meant to be. Perhaps you were meant to take the bargain instead." "What bargain?" I finally forced the words out, my voice breaking, more a gasp than a question. He grinned wider. "The one I made long ago. A contract sealed in blood, signed beneath the devil's hand. I gave away what was mine to give, and in return, I was promised eternity." The air grew hotter, suffocating, as if flames licked just beneath the soil. Sweat rolled down my face, but I was cold, numb with terror. He pointed one crooked finger at me, and the whispers suddenly fell silent. Every crawling shape froze at the edge of the circle. "Eternity comes with a cost," he whispered, "and the devil always hungers for more. Someone must replace me, or the debt must be collected." The forest groaned around us, like the trees themselves were bending under the weight of his words. I could hear my own pulse in my ears, so loud it almost drowned him out. Almost. "Tonight," he continued, "the circle is open. You can walk away, but if you do, the devil will come for you." Or, his lips curled back, showing those rotted teeth again. "You can take my place, sign what I once signed, live forever." His hand extended toward me, palm open, waiting. And the shadows began to stir again, pressing harder against the glowing edge of the pentagram, like they knew which choice I was about to make. His hand was still outstretched, pale and skeletal, waiting for me to decide. The silence was unbearable, so thick that every shallow breath I took felt like a scream. I don't know if it was fear or temptation that made me raise my trembling hand. My skin prickled as I reached toward him, every instinct in my body begging me to stop. But my mind whispered that maybe he was right. Maybe eternity was better than death. The moment our hands touched, a sharp pain shot through my palm. I cried out, trying to pull away, but his grip was iron. His nails dug into my flesh until blood ran down my wrist, and with it, the symbols in the dirt began to glow brighter, blindingly bright. The whispers returned, louder than ever, screaming, chanting, overlapping in a frenzy. The ground beneath me shook, as though something beneath the earth was clawing its way upward. Then I saw it. The circle split open, and from the cracks, black fire roared into the night. A towering figure rose within the flames, horned, massive, with a face I couldn't fully comprehend. Its form was shifting, unstable, as if my mind couldn't bear to process its true shape. But its eyes burned with hunger, and they locked onto me. The wizard's voice broke through the chaos. "Sign it. Take what I took, or be devoured." The figure's hand, if it could be called a hand, extended from the fire, holding something that looked like parchment, though it pulsed like living flesh. Words appeared on it in glowing crimson, written in a language I didn't know, but somehow understood. At the bottom was a space, waiting for my name. The wizard leaned closer, his face inches from mine, his breath hot and rancid. "Do it, write, and you will never die." I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But my body betrayed me. My hand shook violently as the fire twisted into a quill, its tip dripping ink that smelled like burned flesh. The quill pressed against my fingers, forcing itself into my grip. I heard the devil's voice then, low and endless, vibrating through my bones. "Sign, and be mine." My vision blurred. For a moment, I swear I saw myself reflected in the wizard's hollow eyes, except it wasn't me. It was an older version, twisted, wearing the same black cloak and hat, with the same pale, glowing eyes. That's when I realized the truth. He hadn't offered me eternity. He had offered me his place. He was trying to free himself, to pass the curse to me. I dropped the quill. The parchment screamed as it hit the ground, curling like burning skin. The wizard roared in fury, his voice breaking into 1,000 overlapping shrieks. The shadows surged toward me, clawing, pulling, desperate to drag me into the circle. I ran. Branches tore at my face, the earth shook beneath my feet, and the forest seemed endless. Behind me, I could hear him, laughing, screaming, calling my name. The whispers chased me, wrapping around my ears like chains. But somehow, I escaped. I stumbled out of the woods just as dawn broke, collapsing on the dirt path. My body was intact, but something inside me wasn't. Since that night, I haven't slept. Not really. Every time I close my eyes, I see that parchment waiting, the quill dripping, the devil's hand extended. And when I wake, I feel the wizard's voice in the back of my skull, whispering the same words over and over. "You'll be back. You always come back."
Subscribe to Horror Story Bar.